And it's true that black or non-white people are minority in any European capital. But we are not a minority in the world. You are the minority. And that's what you cannot say. So all you really have, after all, are space shuttles, banks, and weapons. What you don't have anymore is me. And you only, me, I the slave, I the nigger, I the black cat, who believed everything you said once. Nothing you can do will ever persuade me, still less my child, that I am worth less than you. In the eyes of heaven or in the eyes of earth, it's over. I've dealt with you a very long time. Now you're going to deal with me. And I came to stay. You understand me? You know, you wrecked our neighborhoods before we were compelled to come here and wreck your neighborhoods. You discovered us. Now you got us.
Do you think now, when we have discovered in Amsterdam that we have a minority problem, that we are doing the same thing?
You are doing exactly the same thing. And what you are unable to accept is this.
Hey y'all, so oh my gosh, I woke up this rising and saw all these comments and all this support and all these questions. So clearly the algorithm has been pushing the last video I made that was talking about how the monks in America, they're doing like a 2,300 mile walk from Texas to Washington, D.C. And that's a very, very far distance. And but they're walking for peace, right? Which is a very rare phenomenon. And so I was talking about how that is super symbolic and there's a lot of meaning there, right? If you have the discernment to know, the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and how that relates to IshowSpeed being in Africa right now, live streaming through like 10 plus different countries and just like showing his audience, which are mainly like the youth. I'm about to be 30, so I'm a zillennial, you know, right on the cusp. But anyway, I wanted to react to some of these comments because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions. Obviously there are, you know, like I don't claim to think I know everything about Kenya or Mozambique or Botswana or Eritrea or whatever. I don't claim to know what they got going on there because I haven't been to those places yet, right? So, and I understand that there's a lot of media about America that y'all receive, but at the same time, y'all can't claim to know everything about here too, because there's also bots and algorithms that push certain content. Like for example, somebody commented about the FBA, Foundational Black Americans, FBA, and I'm like, that might be a thing in like a certain corner. Like think of it like in high school, how there's different cliques, right? There's different cliques, and within those cliques, within those group of friends, there's people talking about very specific things. So you can't necessarily say that the drama and the hoopla going on in one group applies to everybody. Like there's just so many different pockets. This country is so massive. Like it's so massive, and a lot of folks in this country have never even really left their own state. So there's just a lot of segregatedness. And if you're South African, you probably understand that concept a little bit, but I don't know. I've never been to South Africa. I haven't really talked to many South Africans, right? But anyway, I wanted to look at some of these comments and respond to them and just give y'all a little bit more insight into what I'm thinking. So let's start with some of these comments. I already responded via text to some of these, but I want to elaborate a little bit more. And so look at this one. We have a solemn duty to uplift each one another. This isn't a choice, a trend, or a slogan. It's responsibility. Is this an AI response? This person used AI. Africa is not lacking. I agree. There's nothing within me that would think that it's lacking. You know, I mentioned in the last video, when I was growing up, the only commercials, the only information we were given about Africa were pretty much commercials with like a white woman holding some dark-skinned child with a big belly running around and you know, like, feed the children. It was literally an organization called Feed the Children, and it's like, send us money and we'll give you updates on this child that you're feeding for 10 cents a day. You can feed this child. Like, but I'm not 5 years old anymore. And I know some people are probably assuming that because I am American that I don't travel, that I haven't traveled. Babe, I've traveled, okay? I haven't been to the continent, but I've been to like Cuba, I've been to Colombia, I've been to the Caribbean, and there's a lot of Black people out there, you know, like, we're everywhere. We're totally everywhere. And you see that African influence everywhere we go. Like, there's certain things that you cannot remove from a melanated person. Like, there's just certain things, certain traits about us, certain characteristics, certain styles of dance, and just certain things about us, our rhythm and our movement and how we think. Like, there's certain things, like our greatness, that you just can't remove. So this isn't a video about how I need to defend Black Americans and that we have culture or whatever. Or somebody in my comments was also saying that, oh, you're lost, or like, all you lost families, you have a home in Africa. Like, excuse me. Like, what a like a backhanded compliment. Like, yeah, I know. Like, who said we're lost? Like, my parents were born in I'm from California. My parents were born in California. Their parents were born, well, like my mom's, half of my grandparents were born also in California. And then on my dad's side, they were born in like Oklahoma and Louisiana. So, but still born in the States, you know what I mean? So that's multiple generations. And the thing is, this isn't that video, but the one thing I will say is, I'm gonna need the world to have a little bit more compassion, because I am a product of human trafficking. Like, to be real, people like to say, oh, you don't know where you come from. You don't know which part of Africa you from. Do you know how disrespectful that is to say to somebody? Because it's like, we were literally trafficked. Like, our people or whatever, they were trafficked. And at the same time, I want you to know, it's very essential to understand that a lot of us also have not just European in us, right? Because we're also a product of grape. We're a product of trafficking, but we are also Native. Like, we are also actually from America. A lot of us also have Native American blood, a lot of us. And when you take DNA tests, that stuff doesn't show up. But so this whole idea of like, we don't know where we come from, we're on the land that we do come from. Like, we're American Black folks, we're pretty mudded out. Like, we're mutts, meaning we are just a bunch of different things, right? Like, you could be Yoruba and your whole lineage is Yoruba, and none of them got raped or whatever. None of them got moved around, trafficked. You know the general region that you're from, and it's very homogenous and very, like, your DNA is like 100%, right? That's great, right? That's amazing. But we have to understand, this is 2026, and if you've traveled outside of your homogenous region, you'll see that the world is very multicultural. There's a lot of people that have a lot of different things within them, right? And so we just need to come to an understanding and have compassion with Americans, with melanated Americans, because we are not just a product of slavery. We are not. We also have European in us, and that needs to be honored and respected. And we also are indigenous to the Americas, right? Native to the Americas. Like, case closed, right? So moving on. Let's see what we got here. South African has made the world proud. Okay. Yeah, I would love to go to, or Southern Africa. I would love to go to South Africa, you know, like I've heard just from my limited research that, you know, there's a lot of German influence and Dutch influence out there. I went to this one island called Aruba. It's right outside of Venezuela, and it was very interesting because I learned that their language called Papiamento is like a combination of 5 different languages. It was like Dutch, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and I want to say French, but I'm not sure the 5th one. But very interesting. I learned that, you know, the Dutch was also colonizing. I didn't really know that until I went to Aruba, because I always knew the Spanish did, the French did, and the Portuguese did, but the Dutch, they were out here too. You know, you just don't really hear too many people speaking Dutch that are not in Holland, so I didn't really know that. Anyway, let's see what else we have. As a South African, I've seen African Americans moving into South Africa since the 90s, but recently after 2020, they came in numbers. Yes, so I want to talk about that because, let me close the window. Okay, so yes. Well, since 2020 and the lockdown occurred and folks were being threatened with not having a job if they didn't get injected, right? I feel like people should have autonomy over their body. And if you don't want a certain medical procedure, or if you don't want something done to you, you should have control over your body, and that shouldn't start to impact your ability to provide for your family, right? Your job, your career, your livelihood. I don't think that we should have ultimatums and be threatened like that, especially when that vaccine was never really proven to be, because they're backtracking now. Like now they're saying they don't recommend it for pregnant women or whatever the situation is. It was never really studied or tested. It was pushed in kind of a rush, like kind of a desperate rush. And it's like, that already is skeptical. And like there's been a history of melanated people in this country experiencing the worst of medical, like obligatory procedures, and just like, you know, from us being not euthanized, what's the word, where women aren't able to like basically like making them infertile, like intentionally making them infertile. I clearly don't know too much about it, so I'm not even going to get into it. Let's get into the next comment. But basically what I'm saying is that there's been more and more obvious reasons to leave this country, and a lot of people have that loyalty to the land because, like I said, like a lot of us are American indigenous to the Americas, right? North America, South America, the Americas. A lot of us are native to this land and have a lot of history here, but it's just like they're spraying chemtrails in the sky, like they spray chemicals on us, and like the food that we eat is so unhealthy. Like folks will come from the Caribbean or from Europe and come here and eat the same type of diet, but now they're all inflamed in their body and their mood is dysregulated, and like they're getting acne or breakouts and stuff, or it's just our food is poison, you know. And then not to mention like our laundry detergents, our toothpastes, our like all these big major corporation brands that pretty much own everything, like the Johnson & Johnson and like Colgate and whatever. They own everything, and then they give everybody everything. And a lot of people don't look into stuff. They don't read the details. They don't read the fine print. They don't research stuff or try to figure out the impact on your health, you know, because they have us in such a rat race, like just trying to survive the day. And they have us so distracted too with the phones that, you know, people just are missing the whole plot. But they're not everybody though, you know. That's one thing I do want to say, if there isn't a continental African watching this, is that we're not a monolith. Like, please stay open-minded, because they will try to put like propaganda on our end will be pushed and try to make us seem, however, like I'm sure I'm a different type of black girl that you never seen before, right? Like there's so many different versions and styles of us, you know. Like that FBA thing, that's a whole different corner, that's a whole little niche, right? There's so many different type of black folks out here, right? Let's keep going. As a Ugandan, my sense of kinship isn't limited by geography. I don't feel closer to a Nigerian than to African American, nor more distant from one than the other. African Americans and the broader diaspora feel like a 55th state of Africa to me. Different cultures, same family, united by the shared reality of being black in the world. Exactly. Same with folks in the Caribbean, right? All those islands like Barbados and Curacao and Belize, and well, Belize has islands, but like all those places, even in Central America, right? Honduras, like Africans might not understand that we might not travel to the continent all the time, but a lot of us will go to Mexico, and we will go even more south than that. Like I stayed in Costa Rica, you know, and I'd go even more south than that and go to like Colombia, and I'm making my way to Brazil, which, you know, Pangea days, those tectonic plates used to be connected, I believe. And that's why I believe that we found our way over here to the Americas, is because naturally you're gonna migrate, right? That's why you have Vietnamese people, which I've been to Vietnam, by the way. I've been to China as well. So don't try to come at me, because somebody tried to come at me acting like I just need to open my eyes and see the world more, or Black Americans, you know, chill. But that's why some Vietnamese people have our noses. They have, you know, wide features. And I think we've always traveled, especially when the lands were closer together and not so separated by oceans. And I'm not gonna claim to know everything or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's why you see statues that have African features in South America and Central America and Mexico. You know, you see our stuff everywhere. And I haven't even dove that deep into that, but I know specifically, like, I know a lot about Latin America, so that's another thing. Like, I'm also pretty Black Latina. Like, I resonate very heavily with Latin culture, meaning like I'll just say Latin, because these titles and identity stuff, it's like so nuanced and convoluted sometimes. But basically, like, with the land that used to be Mexico and going into South America, you know, like I'm from California. That used to be Mexico. So I've always grown up with Mexicans. It is what it is. I'm not confused. That's just how I grew up. That's just where God placed me. Like I said, I am a product of all the traumatic things that have happened to me. And really, so are you. The land that you live in, right? The world that you live in was created, and now you're in it, you know? So it's like, we can only do what we can with the cards that were dealt. And I'm not gonna try to deny my connection to Mexican culture, like to that native like culture. Like I grew up in it. I was born in modern day California, old day Mexico. So it is what it is. Like all right, as Ethiopian myself, you caught me off guard when you said that Ethiopian artist. Yeah, that was just an example to say how, like, you know, America has just been the United States of America, right? Because all of the continent is America. You have North America, Central, and South. And I know a lot of Latinos want that to be clarified, but the USA has been very impactful culturally, globally. Like, nobody can deny that. And I wish we knew that more. I know that because I've traveled, and like my eyes and my mind has been opened a lot. But a lot of people haven't traveled, and so they do have like a limited view. It's very sad, actually. That's why I don't really like have that many friends, because I'm grateful y'all are here. Like, if y'all are interested in this and just interested to hear from somebody like me, I have my bachelor's degree. It's actually in Spanish. Like, I taught myself Spanish, so, and I do want to learn like Swahili and Portuguese and French too, because I know these languages are spoken on the continent, like sign language too, you know. I also want to learn Chinese Mandarin. But anyway, let's move on with the comments. They said, South African here. I said this on the Afro Think Tank channel, and I just want to repeat it here since the topic is the same and about the disconnect between blacks or Africans in America should apply to blacks not in Africa and those in Africa. We've never been xenophobic. My grandmother looks like Harriet Tubman. By my house in a township called Umlazi, I have friends and know people called Pac, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Most Def, Ice Cube. I was like, really? Hey, I'm sure there are a few others I've forgotten. Pac, whose real name is Senzo here, is obsessed with the real Tupac, and everyone just knows him as Pac. He's skinny and looks just like him, looks a little like him too. His nicknames are JC, Ja Rule, and Brandy. Oh my gosh. Some of the people I mentioned look like the people they're named after, and some just like their music. Some of us try to walk like Black Americans, talk like them, dress like them, look like them. We're a little lost like them. What is up, y'all calling us lost? Y'all are hilarious. We grew up watching their sitcoms and movies and listening to their music. We embody their lifestyle is our own. Yes, maybe because of westernization, which was not our choice. Exactly. We're just living in the world that we were brought up in. Just because we saw Black Americans as family, this narrative of Black Americans not liking or being jealous of them is a real my F to me. But there's also a disconnect, which is neither our own faults, and I hope we can peacefully mend whatever's broken. That's hilarious. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm gonna learn though. But wow, that's amazing. And I feel like more of us need to know stuff like that, because I feel like out here we're gaslit a lot, right? So if you didn't know, this country is a melting pot, right? We've always heard that as kids, that it's a combination of a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different ethnicities. People from all over the world live here, right? And we're unique in that sense. There's not too many cultures. You might have major cities that are like that, but there's not too many countries, rather. There's not too many countries that are like this country. So it's very unique. But I feel like and we pretty much set the standard. Like, we're the African ones. So like, we set the norm, we set the standard, and that's why they put so much money in promoting the worst of us, like the bottom 5%. They as in, like, okay, for example, basketball, football, right? Hollywood, all the news outlets and all the hospitals, all the banks, those huge influential entities are not owned by us. Therefore, there are puppet masters who try to control the narrative, which is why TikTok is so powerful now, because TikTok is so powerful because it's been bridging the gaps, and now we've been having direct contact. We don't have to go through Channel 7 News in order to hear about something. We can see it directly. There's people on the ground, just like, look at IshowSpeed, like, he's there on the ground. So we're getting a first eyewitness contact with everything. So let me move on. I lost my train of thought. I'm South African, and all you Black people are most welcome to come. Thank you. You're in Nigeria, you're more than welcome. I appreciate you guys. We're waiting for you Americans. Do y'all know how like sweet it was to wake up to this? Like, I really feel grateful. You make some really good points. The meaning of Black in terms of race is anybody with sub-Saharan African ancestry. It's not an American thing. Some of y'all just want to argue. Because are you trying to say that we don't say Black out here? That's not the way we're classified? Like I said, we're not the ones creating these structures. We're just in them. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for us to try to overthrow. Look at who our president is. Do you think we voted that man in? Like, there are things that just happen, and we just gotta just sit and let it be. Like, I think about, like, in South Africa, I've heard that I've seen that there's certain areas that are completely segregated, and like very obviously like separated by a wall, right? And where white people are allowed to live, and it's closer to all the work, closer to all the opportunities, and black folks have to commute, right? And it's like that out here too. Like, so I've heard people say this too, like because of our apartheid, y'all can probably relate to our situation a little bit more in that sense, but also understanding that it's not just white and black people out here too, like melanated African descendant people and Europeans. Like there's a lot of us out here in general. Your energy is high, sis. Good job. Come home, gang. That made me laugh. Y'all are just so cute. And when are you visiting? So as soon as possible, you know, like parts of me don't want to travel out there by myself. And that's still some of the propaganda, because I'll travel to Spanish. I think it's just because I know it's going to be so different than what I'm used to. I might look like the people who I'm going to, but I clearly am not from there. So, and I have an accent, so I just don't want to be taken advantage of. So I would prefer, because I don't want people to just assume that I'm rich because I'm American, right? Because if I was rich, I would have property out there. I would have property in Kenya already. That's where I've been looking. Like, I think I would like to visit Kenya and Ethiopia, because I know for sure I have East African blood. Most likely West African as well, but I know for sure East African blood, because my grandma told me on my mom's side. But anyway, what is she talking about? Buddhist monks. Y'all just simply need to travel more and see the world with your own eyes. So, hi Ralph. I've seen the world with my own eyes. And what am I talking about the Buddhist monks? Well, the Buddhist monks are doing a cross-country walk, and they've been gathering a lot of attention, and a lot of conversations have been talking about them, and their goal is simply peace, right? They're not trying to do no type of propaganda or nothing. They just want peace, compassion, and, you know, just love one another. And I think we could use a lot of that. And I feel like the fact that they're doing that in this country, we clearly need it because we're under attack. We are under attack from those same people who I was talking about, who control the media, who control the government, who control the banks, who control our food distribution and all that, you know, like, yeah, all the supermarkets and all that stuff. Like, none of that is really owned by us. The nail shops, there's so much that is not owned by us. So ownership is power, and it's like we're out here. We have cultural influence. Like we also have a lot of like monetary influence, because we buy a lot, we purchase a lot. Like our spending power is one of the biggest in this country, but like we don't truly harness that power for good. Like there are really just like a lot of some of the stereotypes are true. Like there's just a lot of Americans out here that just are so ignorant and just like only know about what's happening, not even just in the whole country though, not even in the whole country, but just in their own like small bubble, in their own friend group. It's just, I'm sure it's like that around the world though. So like a lot of people just only really focused on their own stuff. But at the same time with social media, times are changing. So thank God for that. This person trying to argue with me about the term black. This is the one I was talking about. All lost black families should consider coming back home. Like, I mean, we were stolen. Some of us were stolen. But at the same time, like, where are we going to go in Africa? Where are we going to go in Africa and really just like truly fit in? Because like I've heard about Kenya, and that Kenya would be a good option. But I've heard even there that you can't really like show your shoulders, and like they're just more modern, or not, they're more like conservative. Like we haven't even talked about what Christianity has done to the world, but there's a lot of Christian black people out here, and I just feel like it just keeps you in a box. Obviously, they've always said that religion is just a form of control, and so I feel like the same thing is pretty much happening in Africa, and some people's minds are just like, you know, yeah, so, ooh. All right, well, let's finish this up. What are you even saying? Hey, Sarah. Why are you here if you don't know what I'm saying? This message is not for you then if you don't understand what I'm saying. We American Indian. Yeah, I know what this person says, Indian as in Native American. I get that. Yes, I agree. We are, but we're not. I don't think it's right for us to just say that we've always been here and we're pure-blooded Native Americans, right? Because we're not, because we are products of a lot of grape, as I was saying, and a lot of mixing around. Like, they stole us and traded us and treated us like items. And so that is a part of our history. It's just not the full story, like how they try to say. So I think both of them are correct. These African channels, okay, this will be the last one. Or actually, I have two more. So these African channels need to stop with the propaganda. We do not want to move to Africa. Speed is enjoying his time. Not once did he say he wanted to live there. I feel like this person is a bot. That's why us Africans, we also have to be careful, because I feel like there are bots. Like this AI stuff, they just be creating fake comments and fake accounts to just stir the divisiveness more and just try to, like, this is probably the CIA. But it's like, eventually enough is gonna be enough, and we're gonna have had enough, I think. So we are gonna start moving to Africa. It is what it is. And even if we're just visiting, the whole point being that we're being enlightened, that there's possibly more, because a lot of Americans don't even have their passport. They don't have any intention of even leaving the country, and they should. They're so scared. Like, we're sold this idea that it's so dangerous, not just in Africa. Like, y'all are not the only ones that have been demonized. They try to say, even in Mexico, our neighboring country, that it's dangerous there. You're gonna get like kidnapped. Like, I travel by myself a lot, and people are my family. They're just average Americans as well, and they're always just like telling me, be careful. Oh my God, like they act so scary. And it's like, the world is it's actually safer abroad than in America. Like, out here where I live right now in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, I be hearing gunshots, right? Like, I hear gunshots. There's always like car robberies, and like, it's not necessarily the safest place here. Like, what the heck? I legit feel safer abroad a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Like, when I was sexually assaulted a while back, that happened in America. Like, I've never been assaulted abroad in all the times that I've traveled. So it's just like, but I guess when you've never seen anything different, and when you really just drink the Kool-Aid of what the news tells you, because we receive a lot of propaganda about the world. And like I said, it's not just America. I mean, it's not just Africa that they try to deter us from traveling to. They try to deter us from traveling at all, right? Like, that's why the passport is so expensive. Like, because if you really wanted to empower your citizens, why make it such a hurdle to leave? Why make it so difficult and complicated and expensive to leave, right? Like, they want to keep us here. So this person said, you were divided before any European divided you. Please stop with this nonsense that people divided you. This is all your own cause. Believing such nonsense shows your narrow-minded thinking. If some hip-hop music can drive you to literally carry out that behavior, then you're lacking mental capacity to think for yourself what's right and wrong. Naturally, we were all divided into tribes and not by anyone else, because of survival and sticking to your own. Blaming America for how you live as a black person is so old. It's actually pathetic to think you still stoop to these level of thinkings. The European and British developed the southern regions of Africa, which is the most popular areas to the developed regions of the FEA block to, especially South Africa. Saying things like you built America doesn't mean you envisioned what it would be. The Europeans literally instructed you what to build, meaning your people came as slaves and were laborers, not developers. Let's not confuse these statements. You sound a lot like black South African. Our forefathers didn't find any cities, roads, nothing when they came here. LOL. If what you say is true, they would have found roads, cars, etc., but they did not. So this person is lying, is laughing. So Freudian slip. They're also lying. But this person is trying to laugh at me and I guess like call me narrow-minded. So they said naturally we're all divided into tribes. This person says we, but I'd bet this is not even a black person at all. We were divided into tribes. Yeah, I understand that. And Africa is still divided into tribes, but guess what Africa is also divided into now, along with the rest of the world? Borders that were created there, right? And when I say I built it, of course I'm not saying we developed it. Like, what the heck? I'm just saying that we've invested resources into it. You know, when people have that, and I never even said that's my take on it. I'm conscious enough to understand that different people have different ideas and different reasons why they stay in this country. So I was mentioning that some of it is a loyalty aspect, because they know that their forefathers have gone through hell in order to literally make what this place even is, from the railroads, from the buildings, and like everything. So FBA flock to South Africa. That's interesting, because I'm actually more interested in going to Europe, to East Africa. So this person is just clearly generalizing and has a bias about what they feel like is going on. But we were divided before any European divided us. Yeah, well, have you heard of the Willie Lynch letters though? Because there's something called like colorism. There's so many different ways that we actually have been, like, it's crazy that I have to even mention this, because there's been just a lot of initiatives to try to get us to divide and conquer. Like, that's the name of their game. Their game is divide and conquer. Like, this person is, I don't even want to give them that much energy, but like, what are they saying? They instructed you what to do. I feel like this person is the CIA, or they're European themselves. I don't think they're black, because they're basically trying to deny our influence and our contributions, and say that we were already just a broken race, a broken ethnicity, broken. No one really cares if Black Americans come to Africa or not. African, we are the greatest. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, that was that. It's a pretty long video, but if you're interested in the last one and just want to hear more about from somebody who has firsthand experience here on the land, like I said, I'm in Georgia right now, but I'm from California, so I've come from the southwest coast, and now I'm on the southeast coast. And it's interesting because there's more African expats or immigrants, I guess, living on this side. So I do see a lot of East Africans out here, and West Africans, and probably North Africans too, but I wouldn't be able to really recognize them or distinguish them from Middle Easterns. But I actually don't see too many people like that out here. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have more comments down below, and remember to like the video and subscribe. Bye.